Hello everybody, welcome to my channel and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Sinazo. For all those who don't know me or those who just came across this video, kindly make sure that you subscribe, you click on the like, share buttons and the notification button so that you are notified for my future videos. And today I have, as you can see, a seafood boil. So guys, in my seafood boil, firstly, I'm not going to finish all of this, but I have prawns and I have crab, corn, sausage, and the seafood mix. So today I just thought throughout this week that let me do some story time where I will be talking about one of the things that are very close to my heart that I struggled growing up, which is lack of self-confidence, lack of self-esteem. So this is something that maybe one of you, it's something that you have struggled with as well growing up. So yeah, I'm just going to embark on that. So I have my white sauce here on the side, and take the first bite. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Mm. Mm. And guys, it is so chilly. Because it has chilies, pepper, paprika, smoked paprika, and fish spices. But today it's not just about me enjoying this, it's about also just talking about this topic. Yes, Hannah. Guys, I've been cooking it for the past 1 hour and 30 minutes, and it's so hard. It's very nice. Well, it's not that hard, but it's not like autambanga to the full extent that I expect it to be, but yeah, it is what it is. So guys, I also have, I don't know if I mentioned, I have the soft shell crabs. Wait. But in a very, but it's very nice. My God. Yo. So guys, as I've mentioned earlier, I really want to have the conversation about my struggles with growing up with low self-esteem, lack of self-confidence, and not knowing who I was growing up. Before I get into that, I grew up in a very loving and warm family, where I grew up with my sisters, my uncles. It was really like a full house, and one of my fondest memories and our love language was our ability to sit around the living room and having to sing. I would say that reflecting back, one of when I started to lose my self-confidence, it was back when I was a child in grade 7. grade 7, I had my first period, in which for someone else it might not be the same experience as I had, but for me it really sort of changed my perspective, because of the explanation that my mom gave me to say, okay, you are grown up now, and just make sure that you play far away from boys because you'll have a baby. So just have a picture of a 11-year-old, being told such. That really sort of shook me, and I was really scared, because all of my sisters were not experiencing the same thing as I was. Now I had to start wearing sanitary towels. This really affected me to a point that even playing sports, I would really feel so small because I felt Ogoti, other people know what I'm going. And I think at that time hormones were kicking in, but at the same time I really felt Ogoti, I'm still a child. Why is this happening to me? So within that very same year, I think, I was in a transition of, moving from being a child to becoming a teenager. So I had those emotions going through. Within that same year, I lost my mother, and that really shook my world to the core. I went through a journey with her of having to see her lose her life slowly but surely, painfully in front of my eyes, and her having to pass within that year really shifted my whole world. And all of this happening, I really did not have the capacity nor level of maturity to comprehend Ogoti, how to deal with all of these feelings. Within that very same space, I then was moved to live with my grandmother in East London, in which it was a familiar environment because I used to go there every December holiday, almost every December holiday. So it was a familiar home environment. But now things really changed because now I was living permanently there, and I moved into a multiracial school, which was something that is very new for me. Where everything is taught is taught. So I'm this young child, coming into my teenage years, just lost my mom, moving into a multiracial school, and as I said earlier, that I came from a school from a rural area where everything is taught in isiXhosa. English was taught in isiXhosa. Afrikaans was taught in isiXhosa. So just have that picture of really having to transition into a multiracial school with my background and moving into other learners that have a foundation of being in a multiracial schools. So that in itself really increased, me having to place in my small box of self-doubt, having fear, not being able to express myself. So as I then moved into the multiracial school, I really found myself having to battle quite a lot with my inability to process all of these things that I have experienced, especially the trauma of having to lose my mom, and in which one day I'll get to talk about. So throughout my high school, I really struggled. especially in my academics. I could not function to my best ability. As to how I passed, it was only by God's grace. I remember within that time frame in me being in high school, my father passed away as well. But I sort of brushed that off because I didn't really have a relationship with him. I knew who he was, he knew who I was, but we didn't have, any relationship. So I brushed that. I was like, okay, big deal. But with me brushing off those feelings, that really contributed to my low self esteem and lack of confidence as well. My high school, I learned the skill of having to put on a front. Because number one, I had really so many mixed emotions, mixed feelings. I was not able to really express the pain that I was really feeling. And not that I had no one there. My family was definitely there, especially my grandmother who took me in. But I could not bring myself to say to her, Makulu, this is how I'm feeling. I'm feeling so much pain. I'm feeling so much confusion. I could not really express myself. And I do take note that I was a child at that moment, at that time. But that really, really shaped and contributed to me having so much fear. So, as a result of really not doing so well in high school, especially in my academics, my grandmother then decided, Ugoti, you know what, let me send her to a psychologist, because she was really trying her best to understand Ugoti. Like, I remember this other time, she took me into room yake and was really asking Ugoti, what's wrong, what's going on, because she could really see what I'm really going into this shell of unproductivity, of no progress, of just, especially at school, and I could not, I did not have it within me to say, this is how I'm feeling, this is the pain that I'm feeling, and I don't know how to deal with this pain. I don't know what to do. I would just cry every time I come back from school. So with all of that, she really tried her best to get me to a psychologist. But now, because I have learned to put on this front, to pretend that I'm fine, and I was very good at it. I would really put on a very big smile that I'm okay. I'm okay. It's just, and I would find excuses to substantiate or to, no, it's because of some just a silly excuse to try and move anyone to from. So fast forward, I then failed my grade 11, because it was really getting too much, and that that was just another contribution to how I was already feeling. I already had that foundation. Well, I wouldn't say it's a foundation. It was just a bricks of these feelings: confusion, fear, lack of self-worth, no direction. So these bricks built up, and I didn't have any foundation, strong foundation, to deal with these things. So I failed my grade 11 and I got sick while I was doing my grade 12, and all of those bricks fell apart. So with everything falling apart, I was literally doing grade 12. I remember I was writing my September exams where I felt sick. I can still remember, I really have that picture in my mind. Like literally, I was writing I think I was writing English, I think so, where from this part up until here, there was just a dysfunction. My upper jaw went to the right, my lower jaw went to the opposite side. Or my mouth would open so wide to a point that I could feel my jaws locking, and I just could not understand what was happening. And I was taken to hospital. I was rushed to hospital, and the doctors were just up and down, not knowing what to do, what is happening to this child. My sister was there with me, and my grandmother was just out of town at that time. But what happened was just something that has never happened ever in my life. My spiritual sister came over with her husband, and they saw the condition that I was in, and all they did was to pray for me. They prayed for me, and ever since, I've been well. The doctors said that I had suffered a minor stroke, but it was really appalling at that time because they were just saying that it's quite rare on children, but I was a teenager at that time. But it was really rare to happen to someone at that age. I remember having a next appointment, and the doctor said that they searched, but they couldn't really find as to what was really happening, except for my stress levels were really up high, and I need to deal with whatever feelings, unresolved traumas that I have been through. Otherwise, I will die very young. And that really shifted things. Later, really had sort of time to think about what I've been through, but my mind could not really allow me to really deal with the feelings that I had. So I was like, okay. It was so easy to just brush it off. But after passing my matric, I stayed home for 2 years without doing anything, without having any direction, without having any motivation, any aspirations, up until I heard my great grandmother's prayer about me, crying to God to say, I need help. Until I heard that prayer, I really took it upon myself, Ukoti, let me also pray, because I was raised ngomthandazo with a prayer. Even though at that time I really didn't really understand fully my relationship with God, with the Holy Spirit and Jesus Christ. So I prayed and I asked God to really change my life, so that I can become something, because one of the things that my grandmother was saying in her prayer, that Lord, I'm not going to be here forever. She needs to make something of her life in order for her to be able to survive in this. So I really had that conversation with God, and I remember just praying to say, Lord, I want to go to school. I want to make something of myself. Not just that, I want to become something that can really impact other children. young people that have been through the same thing as me, so that I can really become a motivation to them. And fast forward, I enrolled into one of the universities in South Africa. And from there, my life changed for the better. So basically, guys, I just thought to myself, Ogoti, let me share one of, my life's journey with you guys, to really, hopefully, to motivate and empower you to say, irrespective of everything that you go through in your life, take all of that experience, whether it's painful, whether it's confusing, whether it's hurtful, whether it's not painful, use that to motivate yourself to get to where you need to be, because your life, you have to live that for yourself, and no one else can live that for you. And life will become life, honey. Life will be life. So it's very much important that you strive for the things that you want for yourself. So much, guys, for tuning in, for listening. I really hope that my life story has a positive impact to you guys. It motivates you guys to really go for the things that you want, irrespective of whatever that may be happening in your life. And yeah, man, thank you so much for your time. Kindly don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Please click like and click share, and hit that notification button for our future videos. And let's join the party. Let's carry on.